Back here on MLB Now, Travis Sawchik is the author of the MVP Machine, Big Data Baseball, or Big Data Baseball. I should change the pronunciation on that. Now writes for The Score, and he's a frequent contributor to this program. Good to have him back. Travis, it's Brian Kenny. Thanks for coming back on.
Great to be with you, Brian.
Travis, let's start with this. You write about this in The Score. People can find your stuff there. Henry Davis looks for real for the Pirates. He's a 1-1, number one pick overall, and a catcher, but he's yet to actually catch for the Pirates. Why is that?
The Pirates really value catcher defense. I know it was a different regime at the top, but think back to the Russell Martin, Francisco Cervelli era. They value pitch framing. I think they value some of the, immeasurable things behind the plate, the intangibles, like what Austin Hedges, I think, probably brings in working pitch calling, playing sports psychologist between innings or even between pitches with the pump-up button Hedges has added to the pitch count device. So I think they want to see Davis behind the plate eventually. They need offensive help right now. But it's also an organization that really values what we can quantify and what we can't that might have value behind the plate. And I think that's why we've yet to see him back there.
Explain that. You said something in there because I'd heard about that, like the pump up things on the pitch comm. What is that exactly?
Yeah. So in Cleveland last year, Hedges, he's always thinking about the catching position, how he might be able to help his pitcher on the mound. And there is an option. He had the IT crew there at an option where after a good pitch, he would, well, first of all, he had all the pitches. He recorded the voices. So if it was fastball, it was in Hedges' voice and not the computerized voice. Then he also had this is a PG-13 program, I imagine, but he had an F yeah button added when a pitcher executed a nasty slide or a elevated fastball, and he hoped to give them a little dopamine between.
That's funny, right? Pitches. Just having in his own voice to say fastball has a little more command and like, no, I want you to throw. Don't just computer fastball. I want you to throw a fastball. That's interesting. All right, Luis Arraez. Just anything you wear, anywhere you want to go on this, because I've done so many things on it. When Ted Williams hit 406, everybody was incentivized for batting average, and everybody made contact. Now the batting average isn't incentivized. There's very little contact, and yet here's a guy hitting 384. Give me your take.
Yeah, Williams also had the advantage of being a power hitter, so he could have a little bit lower BABIP to reach that number. I do think it's of course unlikely to happen this year, but Arraez has a profile. He has the ideal horizontal and vertical launch approach where he's not hitting pop-ups. Everything is low and hard, and he has a pretty tight standard deviation. Again, no infield pop-ups, and he also sprays the ball horizontally around the infield, so it's hard to position him as a player. And of course, they're very low strikeout rate. So you combine all that, it's very similar to Tony Gwynn's profile, especially when he brushed with 400, and I think it was the '94 season. So it's very similar to that. And I think maybe it's a 1 in a 100-year event, but eventually I believe someone with this profile, with maybe a little more power, a little more foot speed, we'll see another 400 hitter.
I think the game's got
years from now.
Yeah, I think the game's you're right. The game's got to change a lot for this is such an anomalous player. You're right with the correct approach for that. All right, before we run out of time, Mets. I did a lot on the Mets earlier. Where it went wrong. Where do you think it went wrong?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have gone wrong, but I just start with age. They're the oldest team according to Baseball Reference data, which adjusts for innings pitched and plate appearances. They're just the oldest team in baseball, and we've seen Scherzer and Verlander are still effective pitchers, but they've had big drop-offs and K- walk rate, and we've seen Starling Marte and McNeil have regression and weighted runs created plus. So not that maybe that's all age-related, but when you are the oldest team in baseball, you're adding just a lot of risk to your team entering the season. And I mean, I still had them as a wild card team before the year, so this is a surprise to me. But I just think in an era where the game is generally trending younger, you don't want to be the oldest team on the field.
Wow. Yeah, it just happened so fast. They were so tight in a lot of areas last year that they're just not this year. But there's a lot of soft reasons on that. Travis, great having you back on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great to be with you.